In a scary and confusing world such as our own, it's natural to yearn for simpler times. But aside from drinking ourselves into a coma, what can we do to escape this hellish reality that envelops us at every waking moment? Well, you can always turn to nostalgia, and for me, that meant picking up a copy of Backyard Football 1999. It's a computer game that combines fictional children with pint-sized versions of real pro athletes. I load up the game and I'm quickly transported to the iconic treehouse. There's a pair of binoculars on the windowsill. I'm not sure if that's a Rear Window reference or a Peeping Tom situation, but it makes me uncomfortable. I decide to start a new team. There's 28 real NFL teams and logos to choose from, but I decide to go with the Crazy Bombers. I mean, come on, it's as if little Kim Jong-un himself started a football team. And seriously, their logo is a football on a tee meant to symbolize a tactical nuke. And yes, this is a kid's game. I go to draft my team and I quickly noticed all the NFL legends in the stands. There's great quarterbacks like Drew Bledsoe. There's two-time Super Bowl winner John Elway.
Good for you, bud.
And three-time MVP Brett Favre. There's so many great football players in this game, but in an attempt to give myself a challenge, I'm going to go with the generic kids only. My first pick is Ahmed Khan, a hard-rocking kid who never takes his headphones off.
I'll be with you in just a sec, soon as this song is over. Bow wow!
Hey guys, I want to get something off my chest. In that last clip, the original plan was for Ahmed to listen to the song Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit. But knowing that the song was copyrighted, I took to Twitter and asked Fred Durst if I could please use 12 seconds of his song for my video. Sadly, Mr. Durst did not reply. If you would like to lodge a complaint with Mr. Durst, his address is 53. Next, I take Tony Del Vecchio, a brash Italian kid from the streets of Brooklyn. Next up is the great Pablo Sanchez, aka the Secret Weapon. Pablo is great at just about every sport, but he does need to lay off the IPAs. Next, I take a fat nerd with a pocket protector. Someone's got to play offensive line. I grab Ricky Johnson, a do-it-all kind of guy. Then I take Ahmed's brother Amir, whose birthday was almost a PR disaster for Backyard Football. To round out my crew, I draft Stephanie Morgan, who will serve as my token female. Ladies and gentlemen, meet the Crazy Bombers. Seriously, Pablo, lay off the IPAs. Our first game is against the Amazing Pigskins, and all the kids are wearing pink to protest traditional gender norms. I'm quickly facing fourth down, and Tony's scrambling abilities prove that Italians are indeed still white. The Pigskins settle for a field goal on the ensuing drive, but the kick lands woefully short of the uprights, like Jay Feely against the Bears. Tony boots out and throws a perfect lob to Stephanie. It's reminiscent of John Elway hitting Rod Smith in Super Bowl 33, except this girl probably wasn't caught with a prostitute the night before the game. For some reason, the fat kid is playing safety, but he picks off a pass and runs around like Dan Connolly against the Packers. Tony throws another touchdown to Stephanie. Pablo jumps in front of a pass, and we go to halftime with a 15-point lead. During the halftime show, Chuck Downfield shares some wisdom from his playing days.
You know what my old coach used to say to us kids?
Take your fucking ass home, man. Ain't nobody sucking your dick. Shut the fuck up, man. Take your ass home.
Let's head back for some more action.
I spent halftime reading theory on adolescent gender dysphoria and decided that the Crazy Bombers will also wear pink. Just kidding, I picked the chameleon play. The offense is confused and Dimitri gets a sack. Stephanie is playing like Jerry Rice against the Broncos. Their quarterback throws across his body like a fucking idiot, and Ricky beats double coverage for a touchdown. On the 2-point conversion, I run a play called Leapfrog. Pablo gets the ball, jumps over the line, and gets into the end zone for 2. Something tells me he's done this before. Alright, I'm sorry, that's not funny, guys. The Pigskins finally get on the board when they run a dirty little trick play. Marquis Dubois, who looks like an extra from Deliverance, gets wide open and scores a touchdown. In some bizarre backwoods fetish, a toad jumps out of Marquis' pants and begins to dance with him. In a final act of dominance, Pablo goes Tyreek Hill all over the Pigskins defense, and I cement the beatdown. We beat the living shit out of this team, and I almost feel like this game is too easy. It's almost like it was made for kids. In week 2, I keep my foot on the gas. As Jerry Rice and Steve Young watch, I hang 43 on the 49ers. In week 4, I have my closest game yet against the Rockets, probably because of this bullshit play right here. Seriously, I'm all for inclusivity, but this kid is a straight up menace. Of course, in the end, it's the Bombers that have the last laugh against the Rockets, winning 22-14. In week 6, we play the Green Bay Packers, and in a shocking turn of events, Brett Favre is the one who intercepts a pass. Even with the heroics from number 4, the Bombers squeak out a 16-point win on the road. Later in the season, I'm in a dogfight with the Arizona Cardinals, but in the fourth quarter, the tide turns. Pablo strip sacks the quarterback, and Dimitri fights for the fumble. 2 plays later, I'm in the end zone in what historians are calling the best quarterback sneak since the Ice Bowl. 2 weeks later, and I'm in another tight battle, again with the Arizona Cardinals. The Cards pull some bullshit and score on a magic play. By the way, it's bullshit when they do it, but not when I do it. Then it's just cool. As time is running out, I'm on the verge of a game-winning touchdown, but Tony throws an ill-timed interception, and we're headed to overtime. Back in the booth, Chuck Downfield explains the overtime rules.
Rule 1, first team to score wins. Rule 2,
You play to win the game.
Rule 3, see rules 1 and 2.
Hold on to your hats. Here we go.
On the second play of overtime, Pablo nearly blows it, fumbling the football. Fortunately, the fat kid dives on it like it's the last slice of pizza, and we retain possession. On the next play, Pablo calls game. We cruise through the rest of the regular season and advance to the playoffs with an undefeated record. Tony leads the league with 56 touchdown passes, breaking Peyton Manning's record, and Pablo has a modest 28 receiving touchdowns. Suck it, Randy Moss. The playoffs are underway, and our first game is a rematch against Brett Favre and the Packers. Much like the real-life Packers, this team lays down in the postseason. I run the wild gato with Pablo on my first drive, and just cross the goal line for a touchdown. In the second half, I hit Stephanie on a go route, and it's apparent that this game is a bigger joke than Aaron Rodgers' dating life. Immediately after the game, Brett Favre announces his retirement for the 7th time, and I'm gearing up for a conference championship showdown with the 49ers. Early in the second quarter, I run a sneak with Tony and break the tie. I'm not sure what the fat kid is doing to my quarterback, but I don't like it. Unlike the first round, this game isn't going to be a cakewalk. Jerry Rice torches my secondary and ties the game at 8 points apiece. In the second half, I regain the lead when Jerry Rice makes the worst tackle attempt of all time and Pablo scoots into the end zone. It doesn't take long for the Niners to answer back. Steve Young sprints up the right sideline and we're tied up once again. This is just like his famous run against the Vikings, except 10 times more impressive. Fortunately, I still have my alcoholic running back. Pablo jukes this poor girl back into the Stone Age, and the Bombers retake the lead in this back and forth affair. Sadly, Ricky goes Billy Cundiff on the extra point, and my lead is just 6 points. On the ensuing drive, the 49ers roofie my defense before leapfrogging their way into pay dirt. Suddenly, I'm down 1 point with just 18 seconds to go in the game. Fortunately, I have a secret weapon, and his name is Pablo Sanchez.
We'll begin at the 45. Back to throw. Fires. Complete. No one else to beat. The 10.
I've vanquished the 49ers, and there's only one game left. The Super Colossal Cereal Bowl. I'm relieved to learn that my opponent is the Minnesota Vikings, a team whose record in big games is worse than Clayton Kershaw. Does that still work? Is that a good joke? Ah, fuck it, I'm not going to change it at this point. I've aired it out all season, so why change it now? Tony finds Ricky with a rainbow pass for a score, and Stephanie stretches the field on a 93-yard catch-and-run TD. But the Vikings aren't done. After halftime, Randall Cunningham runs up the left side, trucks the ever-living shit out of a hungover Pablo Sanchez, and races for a huge touchdown. All of a sudden, my passing game goes cold, and Tony is visited by the ghost of Rich Gannon. We can't stop throwing picks, and the Vikings begin to capitalize. The Bombers are down 6 points with time for just one final drive. We dink and dunk our way down the field with Pablo Sanchez, and then it's time to go for the kill.
What? Smash mouth! What? I got this, guy.
Long drop. Tony rifles a pass. The 20!
The extra point is good, the Vikings go nowhere, and the trophy belongs to the crazy Bombers. The kids go out and celebrate the championship, and they all have a good time. Wait a second. Guys, where's Pablo? Oh, Pablo, you rascal.